Still not very reassuring, though, that you could be charged with a misdemeanor for helping someone out in getting or obtaining or, submitting their absentee ballot.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
HB 209 passed the Senate last week in Alabama. House Bill 209 in Alabama. That's the bill that we've been tracking for several weeks now, that deals with voting and criminalizing help for people, particularly in the absentee ballot process. But it did pass with an amendment. So, Adam, talk to us about that amendment and what is left in the bill now.
Yeah, so there were some changes to it to make it a little less extreme and just bonkers, which, it has been. So, yeah, I'm looking here at what actually was changed. I know a couple more exceptions were added in terms of family. That's something that they talked a lot about was, allowing you to help family members with the absentee process. So Jamie Keel is the state rep, and he said it could be your mother, father, son, daughter, cousin, aunt, uncle, nephew, niece, any of those folks related to them. They could help. Not only that, but they could have the probate judge in their county or someone from their probate judge's office to help them. So he's selling this as actually it's not going to be that much of a barrier. You still have plenty of options if you need help with an absentee ballot or application. And so I don't get it. I still don't get it. He says that the purpose of the bill is very simple. It's to make sure that our balloting process, the election process in Alabama, is as secure as possible. Most of the cases where there's voter fraud across the country are in early voting. The voting day is very secure. Most of the time when there's fraud that happens, it happens early. He points to no evidence.
Right.
He points to no evidence that there is fraud happening with absentee voting in Alabama. But the disabled community, the blind community, senior citizen community, voting rights organizations. I mean, the National Federation of the Blind, League of Women Voters, Lions Club International, Blinded Veterans Association are some of the organizations that asked him to withdraw this bill. Okay? And as Kathy Jones, president of the League of Women Voters of Alabama, said, if passed, Alabama would make felons of law-abiding people who are volunteering to help others be prepared to vote. And, I think that's insane. It's insane. And so, yeah, there were some extra exceptions presented. If I remember right, there may have been some weakening of the criminal charges.
It took it from like a Class D felony or something to a Class A misdemeanor, I think.
Yeah, the committee approved an amendment to remove distribution as a violation and to change the punishment level in Section 1 of the bill from a felony to a misdemeanor. Still not very reassuring, though, that you could be charged with a misdemeanor for helping someone out in getting or obtaining or, submitting their absentee ballot. And I think this goes back to some of what we talked about with Faith in Action Alabama, that I wonder if some of this is to deliberately defund voting registration groups and groups that are active in registering and assisting voters on the margins. Why? Only they could truly answer, because the elections are not at all competitive. They're winning by 20-30%. So it's not as if they're elections that are hanging in the balance of this supposed fraud that they cannot demonstrate actually exist. But the communities impacted are being very explicit in how this is going to impact them, how it's going to criminalize their work, how it could criminalize their helping of their neighbors, and how so many people do depend on absentee voting as their primary means of participating in the electoral process. I'm disappointed that it advanced out of committee. It is going before the full Senate of Alabama. They are down to the remaining days of the session. So that's good news in that it may not make it across the finish line before the end of the session. But it really would be great if folks in the Alabama Senate heard from their constituents about this bill. So I really encourage folks to check out our previous coverage of HB 209, why it's a bad piece of legislation, why it's going to impact working people, why it's going to impact the work that our unions and other organizations do. So check out some of that previous coverage. And if you are in Alabama, please do talk to your state senator. I've contacted my state senator so far, no response, but really encourage y'all to do the same.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.
Which side are you on?